Hey, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to English with Dane, a podcast designed to improve your English. As always, I'm your host, Dane, and you can find me on Instagram at English with Dane. If you want a full transcript of this and all future episodes, send me a message, and if you don't use Instagram, send me an email at englishwithdane@gmail.com. Today's episode is a look back at 2020. We are officially done with one of the worst years in recent memory, so I wanted to take this opportunity to take a look back at what I've learned. So that's what this is. Let's do it. You are listening to episode 95 of English with Dane. Hit it. First, I'd like to start by saying that this was a terrible year for a lot of people. I was fortunate because I didn't lose anyone close, but I understand that I was very lucky in that regard. And before we start, if you have lost someone during this whole thing, I'm sorry for your loss and I extend my condolences. Let's first go through a list of things that happened this year that maybe you forgot about because the pandemic eclipsed everything else. First, Brexit happened. Remember? That actually happened this year. And so did Megxit, for that matter. Great name. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle decided to leave the royal family, right? I mean, I get it. They just want to live a normal life. How can you blame them? To blame, by the way, spelled B-L-A-M-E, means to declare that someone or something is responsible for a fault, un fallo, echar la culpa a alguien in Spanish. I wouldn't want to be part of the royal family either. If you are in the royal family, you live your life under a microscope at all times, and that must be exhausting. That's a good expression, by the way. To live your life under a microscope. Okay, so to be watched very closely. What else happened? Yes. Parasite won Oscar for Best Film, which was crazy. Nobody expected it, I can tell you that. I loved the movie personally. I thought it was original, beautifully filmed, and super entertaining, and I'm happy it won. I almost won the Oscar prediction contest at work. I got second place, and I'm still bitter about it. What else happened? Oh, there were locust swarms in Africa at the beginning of the year too. They devastated crops and caused huge damages. It was devastating. Speaking of devastating, there were also big fires in Australia and California, which caused massive amounts of damage too. We all remember the images of koalas running away from burning trees. It was terrible. Harvey Weinstein was sent to prison for sex crimes, which is great. Fuck that guy, he's the worst. What else? Oh, we stockpiled toilet paper. That was a thing. To stockpile, spelled S-T-O-C-K-P-I-L-E, means to accumulate a large amount, una gran cantidad, of goods, okay? We stockpiled toilet paper. Everyone kind of freaked out, se les fue la olla, and they bought all the toilet paper in their local supermarkets. I love that people thought we were going to run out of toilet paper. Good phrasal verb there. To run out of something. To not have any more of something left. Quedarse sin algo in Spanish. We ran out of flour, so we couldn't make the brownies, for example. Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter accident. along with his daughter Gianna and other teammates and parents and the pilot, of course. That one hit me pretty hard because if you listened to this podcast for a while, you know that I'm a huge basketball fan and a huge NBA fan. Other famous people who we lost this year included Chadwick Boseman, right, the actor who gave life to Black Panther and a bunch of other roles. Sir Sean Connery also passed away. Maradona, Alex Trebek from Jeopardy, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. But to talk about her, I might need an entire episode. And I know I'm missing a lot of people, but these are just off the top of my head. Anyway, I don't want to keep listing things that happened. Enough with the recap. I wanted this episode to be about things I've learned over this past year, or one big thing I've learned over the past year. I'll do it through the prism of the lockdown, because I think it's a great analogy for English learning. You'll see. So when quarantine or lockdown started, I was ready. I had prepared myself mentally for being at home all day, every day, or so I thought. I was going to exercise, learn new skills, have time for my hobbies, watch TV shows, movies, and read cool books. I didn't take long to get used to working from home, and I was lucky to have a job during the pandemic, which I didn't take for granted. After the first week, I thought, hey, this whole lockdown thing would be a breeze. I was thriving. To thrive, spelled Thrive, means to do well, to flourish, to grow or develop well. I was working out, I was staying creative, I was cooking new dishes and finding new recipes every day. I was also washing every single thing I bought at the supermarket. How times have changed. After 2 weeks, I was still doing well, but my overall rhythm had dropped. I was still working out, but it felt like a chore. I wasn't as excited about new recipes, and I was growing a bit frustrated creatively. Weeks 3 and 4 were slow and frustrating. I felt like I had really slowed down. I was working, but because my role had changed, I didn't feel comfortable. Plus, I wasn't exercising, I felt tired and annoyed, and because of that, my creativity suffered, which made me feel more frustrated and so on. It was like a vicious cycle. I felt like things were stagnant. To make things worse, we had no idea what was happening with the lockdown, when it was going to end, when the restrictions would be removed, when we would be able to move freely, etc. I felt my anxiety grow a little bit each day, and I knew I had to break the cycle. I thought, okay, what was I doing at the beginning when everything started? Working out, cooking, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I thought, okay, let's start doing it all again, right? But that didn't work. I was overwhelmed. If I didn't do one of the things, I felt like I failed, and that wasn't a good attitude either. What I needed was to be somewhere in the middle. I had to understand that it wasn't realistic to keep that rhythm up or to maintain that rhythm, and that I was comparing everything to that initial burst of motivation. It happens all the time. You set a goal and you start really intensely, but then you realize that the initial burst only takes you so far, and the rest of the way you have to rely on two things: a plan and discipline. If you think that's obvious, I agree. But what's not obvious is this. Make your plan easily achievable. Set daily goals and, again, make them easily achievable. Everything that you do after that, after your goal, is just extra. Here's where it all comes together. I think managing your expectations is the key. When it comes to language learning, there are many hurdles or obstacles. You keep messing up your prepositions, you don't understand native speakers, you have problems with pronunciation, you make mistakes with word order, you understand everything but you can't speak properly. You're going to have these moments, and each one brings a certain amount of frustration. I think frustration is the enemy, and you have to temper your expectations to avoid that frustration. Like me during the lockdown, I'm sure you've experienced these dips in motivation. It's natural. There'll be days where you're too mentally tired to watch a TV show in English and read subtitles. That's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. That's a good one. To beat yourself up about something means to punish yourself for something you did. When you keep thinking about something you did wrong because you're disappointed with yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just understand that that's how you're feeling right now, and it's fine. I think the biggest thing I learned during lockdown is to be patient with myself, not to beat myself up about things. That's the message, really. I messed up during the lockdown because I convinced myself that I would always have the same level of enthusiasm. If I just commit to doing this starting tomorrow, then I'll be where I want to be. I think that's a lovely idea, but for some people like me, it's a bit delusional. It's a bit unrealistic. But I thought it was the way. Maybe this message seems obvious to you because you're disciplined or because English has become such a part of your life that the learning process is less tedious, less demanding. That's another thing I wanted to quickly talk about before I go. I think there's a point in English learning, or any language learning, I guess, where you start to really make big leaps, big steps, grandes pasos. You finally understand how it all works. Not really well, but enough to start being yourself a bit more. And it clicks. Once you're there, then it's more about noticing things, and the language slows down and you can start to hear the rhythm of it, the pace of the language. I feel like people who speak English speak slower than people who speak Spanish, by the way. I don't know if that's scientifically true or anything, but I think sometimes Spanish speakers try to keep that pace up and run into trouble. Maybe I should research this before talking about it. I'll write it down in my new planner. Shout out to my parents. All right, I've talked long enough. That's the show for today. I don't know if this came across as a bit self-help-ish, but it's just a quick insight into some of the things that have been on my mind that I thought could be useful to you. As always, thanks for listening to English with Dane. I hope you got something from this episode. Follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Give it a 5-star rating and leave a comment to help me out, and share it with friends, family, coworkers, or whoever you think would enjoy it. All right, talk soon. Bye-bye.